start without you. You better get in here. Get sat down.
No. Oh, my goodness. I'm not ready.
You are ready.
Okay,
Let's do it.
I'm always ready.
Let's do this thing.
Okay.
Got a lot to talk about today.
We do. Let's
We're going to talk about biological, emotional, and willful commitment in marriage. We're going to talk about the inverted bell curve of marital satisfaction and all that. This would be good. This is going to be a good part. Some good stuff to add to a workshop. Where people can see these visuals. We're going to ask a lot of you today. You're going to be listening, and then you're going to want to go back and back it up, and then make some notes, draw some diagrams. And when I say that, we're just talking about a couple of lines. If you can draw a vertical line and a horizontal line, if you can number 1 to 10, then you're good. So this is the Monday before. People are listening to this, and they're going to hear this on the Monday before the Thursday parenting workshop. So the 29th, this coming Thursday, the 29th, we're going to be online doing our parenting workshop with our 3 adult kids, Chandler, who's 31, Christian, who's 29, and Carson, who is just about 24.
Yep.
That's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast.
I'm really looking forward
to
it. That's going to be so much fun. So y'all look in the comment section of this podcast, and Brian will have the link to register. You don't want to miss it. Thursday night, May 29th, 8:30 on Zoom. You can be in Norway. You can be in Alabama. You can be in Chicago. You can be in Fort Worth, Texas.
I think what she's getting at is you can be anywhere around the world as long as you have a computer, you've got Zoom downloaded, you got an internet connection, you are good to go.
Let's go.
Yeah, and it's going to be, giving time for the young moms to put kids down to bed or dads to put kids to bed. Hopefully you're both part of that ritual. You're going to be doing some tickle and tackle. That's what my boys called it. And tucking in, reading, praying, and just getting the good loving in before they go down. And then from 8 to 9:30.
Yeah.
And you can stay for all of that, or you can stay for 30 minutes and jump off if you want, but we're going to have a good time.
Yes, 8
Looking
o'clock.
Forward.
I'm sorry. I think I said 8:30. 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I misspoke. And you can just be in your comfies, make your favorite evening beverage, and hop on and join us. You could be business on top, party on the bottom.
Wow, you could be. Just be careful. Be careful.
Oh, love it.
So let's see. You're looking forward to lots of good family time coming up over the, I guess today as people are listening to this, it's Memorial Day. So hopefully you're having some good party time, maybe at the lake, maybe in your pool, but be careful. Those storms are out there. A lot of people had rain last night in North Texas, and there's, some thunderstorms as well today. Look at me, just forecasting all this stuff in the future.
And you're raining on all of our parades.
Well, I'm acting like it's Monday that I'm saying all this.
It's going to be a great weekend.
So let's also talk about the Stars. How about the Dallas Stars, everybody? They going to win?
Is it called the Stanley Cup? Yes. They're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Well, they got to win this one first.
Okay.
Okay, so how about we just jump right in? So, guys, we have been talking to a lot of couples. Lots of couples.
Couples before just dating.
Dating, engaged.
First married.
Second marriages, third marriages.
Blended families.
Yeah.
Some that have been married 6 years, 14 years, and then on into like our age people and beyond. Yeah. So they've been married 26 years or...
And my favorite thing to do is and we call it normalizing what they're going through. It's when we just share... in very real, vulnerable, authentic ways that, man, we can relate. We have been there. So there's nothing new under the sun, and there's nothing that couples are going through that not only thousands of other couples have gone through, but that we
Yes.
haven't gone through. I mean, we've been there, done that. And so,
And we're doing that.
and it's not, and doing that, that's the deal. It's just real time. And the more you open up and the more you share, the more you realize, man, I'm not alone. That we aren't the only ones going through this. And there is, I think I've said it before, our greatest human need is not solutions, it's solidarity. And who was it that said our the most significant human problems can never be solved? They are only outgrown.
Yeah, I don't know, but I've loved that one.
Yeah.
I've heard you share that before.
Yeah. But we're going to talk today. So, and in talking with all these couples, there's so many things that I think just catch couples off guard. And when you've been working, it's not like we're some kind of experts or gurus, and maybe you think we are, and that's why you're tuning in. But, yeah, I mean, we've learned a lot over what this coming week will be 36 years of marriage for us.
Happy
we're gonna have
anniversary, baby.
Hey, yeah, we're gonna have to do a special edition for that. And that's probably our next podcast.
All right.
Talking about 36 years.
Don't start crying already right here on the
dude. I'm freaking an oak. I'm not gonna.
Really?
I don't even shoot.
Oh, everyone
Cry.
right now that's listening is laughing.
Anyway, so one of the things it catches people like off guard a little bit is like this time that they come to in their marriage where it's like sometimes it's 7 years in, sometimes it's 14 years in. I mean, for us, it was 1 year in.
We were quick learners.
Where you just think, and divorce has never been an option, but you think, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I want to do this. And you hear some of the issues that people are going through, and one of the spouses says, man, I'm done. And they're like, wait, what do you mean I'm done? Like, I may have to divorce you. And they're like, whoa, what? And they're like literally flabbergasted. Like that's never crossed their mind, but it has become an option. And, you know, we talked about me printing divorce papers off the internet in 2016. And you said, I think to this couple we were talking to, that he was bluffing. I was full of anxiety. I was full of, full of something that I can't say on this podcast, or I won't. But it was like I'm dying for something to change. We both wanted things to be different. No one wanted to stay in the way things were. It's like we're just forcing and pushing. It's like, please, can you hear me? Please, can we address this and not keep going on this merry-go-round of insanity?
And let me say that in 2016, when you felt the urge, like I have to print these papers off and I think I'm done here, that wasn't following years of hell. There were some years that were like when we really were struggling and finally, you know, in the first few years of our marriage, but we went through counseling and things were better. We got into the, you know, life of raising kids and the busyness and the fun, and it was full, and we did have years. It wasn't
and
like
for me, the accountability of working with other couples, that helped me. I would come home seeing the devastation that was created by one or the other spouses and thinking, man, I don't want to do that. And so that was some accountability. So yeah, we had enjoyed some really, really good years of marriage.
So it just shows you it doesn't have to be one, you know, long season of hell and then you finally blow. It's like you can, you know, have great seasons together, and then you hit a really rough spot for a while until you print divorce papers off. Like, whoa.
Things can come up really quickly, and it's that recipe of things. And when things, we can call it a perfect storm, but whether it's financial, intimacy-wise, sex, it's our brain chemistry. I always say we're a sum total of our brain chemistry. When that gets off, then you're off, and it can throw a lot of things off. And when you say brain chemistry, like, what do you mean? It's not just, you know, testosterone and estrogen. It's not just oxytocin. It's not just adrenaline or dopamine. it's, man, there's so much here. And sorry, I'm pausing here. When I just thought of melatonin, I thought of serotonin, all these things that are so, so important. I mean, we could go on and on here, but it's, for me, when it's like we are real-time reflections. So our bodies are real-time reflections of what we're eating, how we're sleeping, what we're putting in, what we're keeping out, right? Our gut health, our microbiome, our brain health. And so what's interesting, when I say we're real-time reflections, you may think, well, crap, man, I've eaten like crap for 40 years and man, I'm diseased and I'm sick and I'm about to die. We can turn that around. And how quickly, with detoxing, with fasting, with putting the right things in, with keeping the wrong things out, how literally you can save your life and your body can change like very quickly. It can heal itself. The same thing with marriage. And so that's really what I'm getting at. It's amazing how things can come up. But so one of the things that happens is people... It's like they panic about panicking. They're anxious about having anxiety, right? And so in marriage, when you see your satisfaction dropping, that can be troubling. So sometimes you think, man, I've given up hope and I don't see this thing getting any better. And just the fact that you both are not satisfied in your marriage, that can be very, very troubling. And you think maybe the only way out is to divorce. Like, well, we've made a mistake and we've picked the wrong partner. It shouldn't be this hard. Man, gosh, look at that. The grass is greener over there. And we start fantasizing about what we could have, what we used to have, right? And that we don't have anymore. But what we've learned is if you don't bail, you address it, you face it, and you heal it, and you stick with it. You don't quit. And then you fix stuff. And all of a sudden, man, we're moving forward and we are enjoying life. We're enjoying each other. So if you have a piece of paper and you're a place where you can, maybe you're driving or you're on a treadmill or whatever. But if you could write down, just take a line, we're looking at a graph like the X and the Y axis kind of thing. So if you could draw a horizontal line and out to the side of that, put satisfaction. And
vertical line.
Nope. The vertical line. Yeah. Sorry. Scratch that. So the vertical line is satisfaction. The horizontal line is time. So you've got a timeline going from left to right, and then from down to up, you've got satisfaction. And you can you just number this like 1 at the bottom to 10 at the top, and 1 at the left to 10 to the right. And this inverted bell curve of marital satisfaction, if you look at it, let's just start with, say, 9.5. People on the far left. So at the 0 axis of time, and at the 9.5 point of satisfaction, you just put a little dot or a star or whatever, and that's where you start, in that top left corner of that.
So we're newly married. We're living
honeymoon
on
phase.
Living on love. Things are great. Love it. So you start there, and then it might take some of you 5 years. It might take Brian and Jamie into the honeymoon. Like literally on our honeymoon, we were like, wow, things have changed. So no matter how long it takes you to get there, you start to go down a little bit.
Yeah, but even when we had, and I'll say this, even though we had our low lows, we had high highs. So our marriage, if you had asked us, even I mean, we were getting help within a year. We were doing marriage counseling, and I'd had my come to Jesus meeting, hitting the ground. God, if you're real, I need help. And but if you would ask us in those first 5 years, our marital satisfaction was very, very high. Even though we had this hell time. I mean, and there were times literally we were questioning it, like you said, on the honeymoon.
And little little things like, things that used to be like super attractive and magnetic about you. I was just drawn to you. And I thought, oh, I love this. I love when he does this. I love when then you get married. So little things that used to draw you to that person, you start to see it. You're married, you're living together, you're seeing it day in and day out. I remember you saying this, you've told people this before, like, wow, you do that every single night, like getting ready for bed, like every night, you like clockwork. You're like this machine.
The routine.
You go in there, you have this routine. And at first it might feel like, wow, I love that about her. And then after a while, you're like, oh, drives me crazy. I hear her in there, whatever, flossing or whatever it is that drives you crazy. Whatever attracts us at the beginning over time can start to annoy us, irritate us, and we feel separate, and we feel like, ooh, that's kind of weird, or you're annoying me, and you kind of distance yourself a little bit from that.
So there's the novelty wears off, the shine's off the penny, the honeymoon's over, familiarity breeds contempt, however you want to say it. So there's this, we're up and to the left, really, really high at 9.5 satisfaction. And it's many times before kids. I mean, a lot of people have kids and then they're together and right off the bat. But for us, we had 5 years with no kids. It's like, man, we want to establish a foundation of friendship and sweethearts before we're mom and dad, before we're parents. But many times it's then you start having kids, and so many couples report that's when their problems started, or that's when their satisfaction went down, because they're busy, and their mom and their dad, and man, we're trying to make a living, and we're running kids around. So just that upsetting the apple cart, having the family. I mean, again, we talk about how rewarding that is now, but many times that's when people started drifting apart. They got busy. So if you just take that bell curve, the inverted bell curve, so you have this top left at 9.5, and then somewhere years 3, 4, 5 to 7, you're having kind of a steep decline, down to where if you look at like, say 5 on your 0 to 10 on the bottom on your timeline, somewhere in the middle there, you hit your low point, right? You hit your low point. Now, many people bail right there. They're done. And what they show is what studies have shown, and this is a lot of research over a lot of time with a lot of couples, that let's go to counseling. Let's talk to someone. Let's get that marriage coaching from Long Haul Marriage. Let's work out these issues. Let's don't hold our partner in contempt. Let's don't criticize. Let's don't stonewall. Let's don't be defensive. I mean, we're all those things. And when you're doing those 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that John Gottman talks about in his book, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. Yes, I will put that in the notes. If you're doing any one of those 4 things, you are heading for divorce. And guess what? We were doing all of those things. I think all couples do some of those things at some point. But if you work through those, then you see that bell curve. You start to rise in a steep rise from 5, 6, 7. And all of a sudden, if you look to the far right at 10, it shows that most couples that are in it for the long haul, that are 36 years, and they're not empty nesters. I would say they're open nesters. Our nest is open, baby.
Yeah,
we're going to have, 18 here today, something like that. And but it's higher. It goes actually higher to where you started out. So you're at the 10, 11, 12. You're adding numbers to the satisfaction.
Youngsters that were living on love, you've actually gritted it out and experienced some hard life. You've grown up together. And so when you can start to really redefine what that next season is going to look like for you, and you've talked with someone, and you've not if you think about a wound that's festering and you're like, here, let me just put a little Neosporin on it and a Band-Aid, that's, it's just going to fester and get worse and infected. And sometimes you've got to do some deep, deep work. And so many of you, just like us, just it's easier really than you think. You've just allowed it to stay down inside and get bigger and worse and grosser. And it's this what is it called? Molehill has now turned into a mountain, and you might be closer to healing and freedom and intimacy and closeness than you even expect. So when you get to that top part of that bell curve, it's a beautiful thing if you haven't thrown in the towel, but you're both willing to continue to grow together and to seek help, because you're not the starry-eyed young kids anymore. You have a little, few little grays in there, and you've grown together. And so this is a beautiful picture of what marriage can be.
And the bottom of that bell curve, the bottom of the inverted bell curve that's where I said people give up, they quit, they divorce, or it's just, this is when sometimes where you've gotten that's so normal just because you're busy and it's your old hat, and you've been disconnected, and you're raising kids and you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing. That's when it's easy for the intimacy, the physical intimacy to wane or to go to nil. That's when it's easy for me and my am I expressing love to you? Are you expressing respect to me? A lot of times those are non-existent or very, very little. Many times that's when we're open and vulnerable. We become, we always say emotionally available, or maybe even physically available to an extramarital affair, because you're just done over here, and all of a sudden somebody else is showing you attention. Wow, somebody else is showing me respect, making me feel desirable, showing me some attention, listening to my stories, telling me I'm funny. It's just so you're so ripe for that affair. Willard Harley in his book, His Needs, Her Needs, How to Affair-Proof Your Marriage. He's saying meet those needs so that people aren't vulnerable to getting them met outside the marriage. But so many people, that's when you have, and addictions maybe start. You're medicating that pain. So there's alcohol, there's drugs, there's other women, other men. So now we're exacerbating the problem. Those are, but they're not the problem. Those are just symptoms. We're just but then you come in and you think, wow, we've had infidelity. We've got addiction going on. And then it really feels insurmountable, because you're just like, you've got this on top of what got you there in the first place. But all of that can change. And again, we're real-time reflections. It's amazing how quickly, when you keep the wrong things out, you put the right things in, how quickly you are now revealing who you truly are. And it's like, wow, we can have actually a good marriage. I can see you for who you are. You can see me for who I am. We're addressing these things, and all of a sudden you're pouring back in. You get rid of these fantasies in your brain. You get rid of all the annoyances and the irritations and the resentment and the bitterness toward your spouse. So many people can't see their spouse for who they are. Because they've started believing a story. He doesn't love me. She doesn't love me. And so, screw you. I mean, we've got this screw you attitude towards your spouse, because
that downward spiral,
the crazy cycle. The opposite of the energizing.
The love and respect. If you say, wow, she doesn't respect me, she's just rude and critical, well, then you're not going to want to go the extra mile and show me love and cherish me and honor me. And so when I don't feel cherished and honored and safe, then what am I going to do? Turn around and critique you and be snarky towards you, which disrespects you. And then it's back and forth, and here we go. Yeah.
So many times I hear people say, we're not partners. We don't have a teammate. I don't feel like they've got my back. I mean, just that alone. And you so we heard, and I've said it before, and I'll say it a ton, Gary Smalley's son, and Gary Smalley did the love languages. And Greg said, your heart is never half opened or half closed. It's either open toward your spouse or it's closed. Just take an inventory. Is my heart closed toward my spouse right now? And I'm going to come back. We're going to look at this triangle in just a second, look at 3 different areas that we could talk about in love. And I think, I talked about the hot, warm, and cold, maybe. But of love, let's come right back to that. But many times, if you're in that, just check yourself and take inventory. Do I feel like my heart is open towards my spouse, or is it closed? And if it's closed, man, you're in a bad spot. There's no way you're going to see your spouse for who they are and value them and treasure them. I got into a point, I told you, I kind of surprised myself when I truly started having my eyes open. It's like scales fell from my eyes, and I started, instead of nursing all the resentments that I had, I started being grateful for who you truly are. So if I asked everyone that's listening to say, okay, when you wake up every morning, take 5 minutes and list the 5 things that 3 things, whatever, that annoy you about your spouse. That you're unhappy about, that you wish were different, whatever. Of course, I'm not going to ask you to do that. If I said every single morning you wake up and take 30 minutes and write down the 5 things that you're grateful for your partner, that you're thankful about, grateful for, about your spouse. Just watch and you think about those things, and then you express those things. Just watch how your life will change. Watch how your marriage will change. Watch how
those
your
things.
heart.
That's good.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
No, I was just going to agree. You can write those in your journal and you can think about those things in your heart, but when you express them, and I have seen, you've always been very expressive, but I feel like even lately you've expressed more. I treasure you. You're my best friend. I wouldn't want to do this life without you. This is my favorite place to be, sitting out here in the backyard with you. Those kind of things just fill my cup.
Yeah.
I feel safe.
Yeah.
And I feel seen and I feel cherished.
Well, and I'm glad, because I want you to, and thank you for mentioning that. And I'm glad, a lot of people say, I don't feel I'm getting credit, or they don't appreciate it, or they take for granted. Well, many times it's because our heart is closed. And I want everyone to hear us. This isn't natural. This doesn't come natural. Now, it's becoming for us. It is. But there were times where that wouldn't have flown from my heart, flown, whatever, so easily. It wouldn't have, because I was too busy nursing the resentments, nursing what had turned into some bitterness and some, how dare you? And, well, hey, I'm not doing this, but hey, you're not doing that tit for tat stuff. And when you are going over the list of things that you resent, that's exactly what you're going to see. And that's where you're living, that negativity. And when you choose, it's a choice. When you choose positivity and you choose to be grateful for those things, that's what I think. That's what I see. That's what I'm expressing. And that's what is becoming. You are creating your spouse. If you don't like what you see in your spouse, man, look in the mirror. Like, what are you doing to create?
Sometimes
that?
It would, when I know that you could sit down and literally write 20 things that annoy you about me.
And we all could.
That could hurt my feelings. Like, I can't believe he could write down 20 things that would, not that you do that. I'm just saying that's a possibility. You could, and I could sit down and do the same thing for you. And that would sometimes hurt my feelings. Like, I can't believe there were that many things. But the truth is, we're human. And when you're 2 humans living together, you're different and things are going to annoy you. So that is normal for your spouse to annoy you.
Yeah.
But what you do is you just flip that on its head and you begin to, and there are times where maybe you talk to them and say, hey, when you chew your fingernails or chew your toenails.
Oh my gosh.
Just kidding. Whatever. There may be conversations that need to be had, but really we overlook so many things because we choose to look for the good in each other. But I could let that hurt my feelings, but then you realize, no, that's normal. That is so normal with two humans living together. So it's okay if your spouse does some things to annoy you.
So I hope people take this and just back it up from like 26 minutes to 28 or 29 minutes and listen to that part again, because I can't state this enough. We are human. We could all be annoyed and think of things that we do not appreciate, don't like. And yes, some things need to change, right? Like you said, and having those conversations, which we're going to come to in just a minute, and what that looks like, or some of the components that you could add to make that a productive, civil conversation rather than a knockdown, drag out fight where we get defensive because we're feeling attacked about these things that we're annoyed with. But it's a choice. You're choosing to be grateful for the things that your spouse is and not be annoyed about what they're not. And I'm telling you, this is the difference. There's no, I mean, you want to talk about a secret weapon. This is one of the recipes that will make your marriage and your relationship great. So,
I was just going to add this.
Good.
I think sometimes other women would think, well, of course you're happily married, Jamie. You're married to Brian Hackney, and like, what could go wrong there? Like, if my husband were more like Brian, blah, 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 blah. Well, I get to see you in all of your colors, and same for me. You get to see me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I think sometimes when you compare your spouse to other people, that is a standard. They're not good. You don't know. It's just like Instagram or whatever else.
The highlight reels.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the ugly. Trust me, the ugly's there. And I just had to apologize for another ugly episode of the real Brian, right? It's like, and it's like, we're all that. We're all that. We're simultaneous saint and sinners. And if you don't realize that about yourself, then you've got a conscience that is not you. It's the story you're telling yourself to protect yourself from who you really are. And you got to start being honest with yourself. So quickly, with the time we have left, just real quickly. So if you can now pick up your pen or pencil again, and instead of doing the right angle, vertical line, horizontal line, draw a triangle. And on the left side of the triangle, write the word hot and the word biological and the word passion. Okay. So the passion on that side of the triangle. And then on the right side of the triangle, write the word warm, emotional, and intimacy. All right. And then on the bottom, write the word cold, willful, commitment. And so if you see my triangle, and I can just see people going, oh, wait, you didn't say them in that order. But on my triangle, I've got the words passion, intimacy, and commitment closest to the triangle. So you've got the passion part of love, and you've got the intimacy part of love, and you've got the commitment part of love. And we say this all the time, man, feelings come and go. The agape love, unconditional love, it's a choice. It's a commitment. It's the action. It's the verb, not the noun. But this is how, it's just showing how fluid love is. And some people, again, they're surprised by this. Like, what? Shouldn't it be hot all the time? That passion, that biological part. It's like, or the emotional, the warm, the intimacy. How about the commitment? It's just, man, it's a will, but that's the cold part, right? So it's knowing that these things are very, very fluid. And since they're fluid, look at your energy level in each one of those. Be honest when you get up, look at your energy level. And you think, well, my energy level's kind of low in that. Well, let me ask you, what's been your investment? So the two things you write out by this triangle, energy level and investment. And so if you look and you evaluate yourself, we talk about our vision meeting. So one good conversation starter to have a check-in with your spouse, and you want to do this report card or check-in like once a week, I would say let's don't do this daily. I would say start with once a week, then maybe you can do it once a month. I wouldn't do once a quarter. I would keep it at the minimum once a month. And if you could start checking in with your spouse weekly and look at your passion, your intimacy, and your commitment. And evaluate yourself and do a little 1 to 10 and just, or A, B, C, D, and F, whatever. And just say, you know what? I feel like my energy level for passion has been very, very low. And both of you be honest and then compare. What's your energy level and then what's your investment? The investment is that kind of commitment walking away. Here's what we're going to invest in that. But if you look at it, maybe you and I, my passion's really, really high and yours is slow. Maybe our intimacy, I feel like mine's high and you don't agree. You feel like it's low. It's like, whoa. But our commitment, we're both very, very high. Just that alone can make you, can fuel you and go, wow, this is going to be good.
I love that the commitment is the bottom part of the triangle.
The foundation.
It's what's holding everything else up. That commitment, that die hard, sometimes gritted out, but knowing we're in it for the long haul.
I just love in the Great Pyramid of Giza, I think is the one that they've just found these with LiDAR. They've found these columns that go like meters into the earth. These 3 different columns that are kind of this spiral. And when you said that, I love that the commitment is the foundation. It's the bottom part of the triangle. And I see, for me, it's been drilling down and having those columns that go deep. So that triangle ain't going anywhere. I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Yeah.
I'd love to share something I read this week, and it just keeps coming back to me. All right. It's from Psalm 65:11, and it says, "You crown the year with a bountiful harvest. Even the hard pathways overflow with abundance." What a beautiful way to remind us that God's resources will never run out. They can even spill out of places I least expect, the hard places. If you find yourself in the hard places today, look for God's provision there. Fruit doesn't grow on mountaintops. It grows in valleys. His goodness is not waiting for you somewhere else. It is overflowing right here, right now.
Man, that's great, babe. So yeah, you guys be encouraged and be blessed with this. Man, we said we ended up with Long Haul Marriage, this name of our business, that Jamie said, I don't hate it. It's not great. It's not my favorite, whatever. We were going to go with Legacy Marriage at first, but now, man, we're in it for the long haul. I would not have had it any other way.
Me either.
I love LHM, and but the legacy that we're enjoying, that inverted bell curve where we're way up over 10 right now on that far right side with our open nest, and that nest is going to be full tonight with kids and grandkids. Telling you it's worth it.
Yeah.
Get through that bottom. Get through that bottom so that you can be enjoying. And again, people, they don't know. They don't see it. They haven't had a model and they're not living it. So it's hard to believe. And it is hard to believe.
But when you expect it, then when you hit that dip, you're like, oh, there you are. I was expecting you to be here at some point, but this is not the end. This is not where it's going to stop. So I just want to encourage people, keep going. Keep going.
Boom.
Do not quit.
All right. And tune in this Thursday night, 8 o'clock. We hope to see you there.
Yay.